Jumbo. We are starting off with your phrase or mine. And most notably, most suitably, Oti is the wise sage with the phrase this week.
Taking you back to Africa, mate.
See, and I didn't even know. It is right off the cuff, friends and lovers.
All right. If you're looking for a fly in your food, it means that you're full.
Wow. I was not ready for that super nugget. I think it's like quit while you're ahead.
Not really. It means if you have the energy to complain about silly things in life, then you don't have real problems.
Isn't that funny? I think that reveals more to your childhood and the flies that you had to consume yourself.
Tres comas.
Let's get on to the show. Freeze, mother bitches! Set off those explosives, but leave a compelling narrative behind. As we set off with Michael Bay's directorial debut in Bad Boys.
Bad Boys.
Ooh. Oh, Jinx. That was a sexual reference, Jinx, right there.
Oh, for sure.
Mark it off on your bingo, cardigan pals. Today we are covering Bad Boys, Bad Boys Dos, and Bad Boys for life. Some would argue Bad Boys for too long.
No one would say that.
Well, anyone that loved this film is definitely going to get angry at us. But hey, if you like to hate listen, you are most welcome. It is for your reference podcast, first of all. You got your host, Katie.
And OT.
And we are ready.
Too ready.
Keep those Skittles, Viagra variety or not, to yourself. Pass it around if you want and share the pleasure. This episode is going to follow similar to the format of our John Wick episode. Speaking of action, please go and watch John Wick and listen to our John Wick episode. But we are going to cover all three of the movies leading up to the most recent Bad Boys for Life. So let's just quickly go through the stats and the actors, and then we can get straight into the delicious, meaty Martin Lawrence ass cheek part of it all.
Oh, yeah. Ass chick with a hole, mate.
Babe, all asses have holes.
Ass chick with a hole. Unless your hole is in your ass cheek, mate, then we need to...
Well, apparently one hole for OT wasn't enough. Got some alien dick going on.
I get my anatomy classes from Cartman, mate.
Okay, that is a reference. So I guess you get some semblance of a point. I think you get a Stanley nickel of a point. How about that?
A shoot back is what I'll settle for.
How dare you? And there's your office reference. Thank you guys for listening, and hopefully you continue. So let's start off with the stats. Bad Boys was, again, like we mentioned, the first directorial debut of Michael Bay. There are some classic Bayisms that you'll see throughout this film that have carried on into his filmography.
Before the American flag started popping all over in these movies.
America. I don't know a country that's so patriotic.
Yeah.
It's like we acknowledge that we're not the greatest, but America. Come and fight us. You know, 60% of our listeners are American.
And we love y'all.
They all disappear after this. I was like, how dare you? Writers in George Gallo and also Michael Barry. I think it's quite widely known that Michael Bay was quoted as essentially calling the script a piece of shit.
Oh, really?
In regards to the screenplay, yes. A lot of sacrifices had to be made for the action and the grandiose and the Bayisms of it all to happen. Michael Bay even sacrificed a big chunk of his own salary to get a final action shot done as well. So speaking into that, the first Bad Boys was released in April of 1995.
Oh, 95 was such a good year. I feel like I butchered that, but, there you go.
Oh, I thought you were going to sing OT was a bullfrog.
That's beyond 95, mate.
Not today?
Not today.
Yeah, that's BC times, isn't it?
My time.
Hail Satan, come and fight us. The budget for the first film was 19 million.
Okay, that's just some pretty penny, mate.
It's kind of not. For an action film, 19 million will give you nada.
Considering they were thinking this was a piece of shit, mate, 19 million is a lot of money.
Well, he had to work with the script that he had. The best example that I will point you to is in 30 Rock. Do you remember with Jack Donaghy when he was head of television and programming? He pretty much got given a script that was circulated so many times it was losing money. It was like hemorrhaging money, so they had to make the film.
Yeah.
I think that's a very good example because this got passed around quite a lot. There were a lot of actors that were attached to it and dropped out as well. So essentially he just had to make it. This was his first film. He had to make it. And if you weren't expecting a learned lesson from Katie about Michael Bay, you were sorely mistaken, my loves. But yeah, so 19, think about it. 19 million isn't a lot for all of the explosives and all of the action sort of sequences. And 19 million is not a lot. So considering it was his first film, it was a success. As you start to see in Michael Bay's filmography, this man makes money.
He does make money.
He does. And the worldwide gross from a $19 million budget was $141.4 million.
Wow.
Yeah, give that man everything he wants.
Yeah, mate. Black people went in hordes to go and watch this movie.
Yeah, speaking of, Will Smith Michael Bay wanted him to run shirtless in one of the scenes, and all he got was an opened button shirt.
Which was one of the better shots, mate.
One of the better shots, but it seems like, you know, I guess it's good to know he's not just asking the women to disrobe. But we're not getting into that today.
Equal opportunity disrobement, mate.
We don't start any scandals. We just drink our Quaaludes and we move on our merry way. Don't we, O.T. Cosby?
Yep, the Cosby way.
Look at us causing our own dramas for ourselves. Obviously, the main actors that we have is Martin Lawrence, Will Smith. Martin Lawrence was the first build for all of the films except for the most recent Bad Boys for Life, where Will was actually top billed over him. Yep. Makes sense, but I think it's a nice call out to have. We also have Joe Pantoliano, who plays Captain Howard. And then we also have Tia Leone, who becomes Madden's secretary. She's got a voice.
Oh, her voice, mate.
Right? Because we'll talk about first impressions, but I watched Bad Boys just a couple of months ago. And her voice, you could just, there was no way. It was undeniable.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the main cast that we have. I'm going to go through the stats of the rest of them just so we can have a more fluid, if you're nasty, discussion, just interweaving all of the films. So Bad Boys 2, we revisit the team 8 years later. So it was released in July of 2003. We have Michael Bay coming back. We have George Gallo coming back. And we also have Marianne Wibberley. Associating with the film. Something that I thought was quite interesting, and I'm not sure if we'll get to it, during the actual discussion of all of the movies. There was an interview in 2013 with the screenwriter Ron Shelton, and he actually confessed that when he was asked to work on the script, he had actually never seen Bad Boys at all.
Yeah.
And we'll come to how we feel about Bad Boys too, but I felt like it was quite evident. So literally all he did was get the tape of it and just fast forward it in speed.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
So if that's the benchmark, then I think we are fully fledged film critics. Pass us our vintage wine, please. So I think that was quite interesting to have as well. But you have a lot of the main crew coming back. They definitely upped the budget. OT.
Oh, they did. You could tell. There was money oozing in this production.
130 million for the budget alone. That's enough money to betray your family and never see them again. Actually, I'd probably do that for $100, but that's a story. That's a story for another day. Michael Bay, please contact me. The worldwide gross for Bad Boys 2, according to IMDb, so don't come and fight me. You can, but not for this particular point. $273.3 million.
Ooh.
Barely over half. Even with OT's abacus, he can't make that any more than it is.
That was still,
I'm surprised. I'm really surprised that it didn't make more money than that.
I think he made sufficiently enough.
Yeah, but then again, isn't that telling that maybe 8 years they didn't have an appetite for it? What did they do 17 years later?
No, but this is when Will Smith was coming to his prime, mate.
He was already at his prime. He was at his peak.
Yeah, but you have to utilize that. If there ever was a time where Will Smith was gonna make, or they were gonna make Bad Boys 2 sequel, it had to be that time. Like, I don't qualm it at all.
Do you mean that his star power was going to run out? Because YouTube Will Smith would besmirch you.
Not that his star power is gonna run out, but you never know. You have to ride the tide while it's still high, mate.
I get you. And that's what Jaden's doing. Come and fight me. He doesn't listen to this. Just like people don't listen to his music. Ew.
He's an icon living.
But Will Smith is an icon chilling.
Oh.
See, we say no one listens, but we listen to you, Jaden. Don't you worry. So going back to Bad Boys 2, more people that were introduced to the cast. We have Gabrielle Union, Peter Stormare.
We love Peter Stormare.
Oh, fucking hell. In every orifice, thank you very much.
And Gabrielle Union, to be fair enough, Mary Jane, love to hate her.
Mary Jane in the corner by herself. Let's digress for a second because we tried rewatching Mary Jane after seasons of not watching it, and one of her boyfriends was so angry he was pouring wine into a decanter. I'm sorry, there is no scenario where you can see some big ass muscly man being angry and pouring red wine into a decanter. I've seen OT do it and it actually turns me on, so that's a story for another day.
Yeah, just sip from the bottle, mate.
In every instance.
Yeah.
Just sip it from the lips.
Mm-hmm.
I guess give a shout out to Teresa Rando, who plays Marcus Burnett's wife, and Michael Shannon. He's a fan fave around the town.
Michael Shannon, yeah, I loved him in Boardwalk Empire.
What a despicable face.
He looks like he has serious issues.
He looks like serious issues were inflicted on him, but he also looks like he'll inflict serious issues on you.
Oh yeah, for sure. And if none of you have watched his performance on Boardwalk Empire, just do yourself a favor and get to it.
Which is me, right?
Yeah.
Are you calling me out, bro?
I always call you out because you've watched it all, mate.
I'll see you in the ring, brother, bro. We're starting our wrestling podcast, guys. Don't you worry. So let's move on to Bad Boys for Life. This was centered as 17 years after Bad Boys 2. Mm-hmm. Actually, 25 years since the first film.
Yeah.
So spanning 3 decades, essentially. And boy, does Martin Lawrence wear it. Oh, Lord.
Jesus.
That sodium just stayed in his face. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I think we just get spoiled nowadays with thank you, Kumail Nanjiani, and also Simu Liu. Like, everyone in Marvel is shredded, bro. Everyone's totally ripped. Martin Lawrence is like, fuck you, bitches.
I'll show you how this is done.
I've been Martin. I don't need to be anything else. Jesus Christ. But man, if I was Martin Lawrence, I would not stand next to Will Smith. Even from Bad Boys 2.
They did like undershots a lot. Panic is like his chin upwards and it's like stop with that angle. Stop it.
Well, while you're talking about angles, let's talk about the director. So Michael Bay didn't come back to it. Mm-hmm. It's ambiguous as to why, but he does provide a cameo as the wedding MC. Mm-hmm. But you've got Adil El Arbi and you've also got Bilal Fallah.
Okay.
They're most known for their film Black. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so they were the guys at the helm. And then you've also got writers Chris Bremner and also Peter Craig. And obviously there's a lot more that were listed on IMDb. But, Apparently, OT charges me for the Google Sheet cells that I use. So I can only afford 2 of you for now. It was released, at least in Australia, just a week ago. I think it's similar sort of release in America as well, at least for worldwide sort of release. The budget was less than Bad Boys 2, so maybe they learned something, or maybe without Bay's backing, they didn't get it all the way. 90 million.
Okay.
In the first week so far, it has reined in $111.9 million.
Man, I feel good. As long as you've broken even from your movie, everything else, it's all good.
See, that's where your abacus fails you, because I think you're supposed to make 2 times or 3 times to actually make money.
I know, mate. But it's good to know that they've gotten their money back almost in the first opening weekend.
Okay, I just want to make it very official. Our Twitter handle is For Your Ref Pod. If you see any other things that might look like For Your Reference and you have OT asking you to the casting couch for his screenplays, please block him. Please block him, because the fact that you don't even know how much it takes to make a movie, I am worried for our handful of fucking delicious listeners.
Oh, yeah?
You need to leave them alone, OT. I am the buffer between the Middle Kingdom.
Oh, dear.
Let's talk about the cast. Obviously, we will break down each of the movies, but just capturing off the stats. We have Alexander Ludwig, who plays Dawn. I feel like they were lazy and they just wanted it to rhyme with Bjorn. I will leave my comments for this cast later. We also have Charles Melton, Vanessa Hudgens, and also DJ Khaled.
It was good seeing DJ Khaled being beaten around.
I didn't even bother to see what he was credited as, because he was literally DJ Khaled. I'm pretty sure they had to pay some poor intern sort of editor just to take out all of the "we the best."
Marcus would be there like, tell me where it is. It's the key. I've got the key.
Major key alert.
They don't want us to succeed. They don't want you to find him. Who's they? It's just they, mate.
Can we blame all of this mass sort of sequel appeal to DJ Khaled? Another one.
No, you can't. Because we're the best.
Fuck you.
All right.
Fuck
Enough
off.
of that.
Fuck off. Oh, bloody hell. What the fuck is this? Hey, guys, if this is your first time listening, please listen to another episode and then come back. But like OT said,
we the best.
We the best, apparently. So those are the stats for all of the movies that we have coming out. And obviously we're going to break down and talk more about the cast as we go. But let's go into our delicious, most welcome format, first impressions. So OT, I know you've been around for double 3 decades, but please give us your first impressions on when Bad Boys came out. Did you watch it when it first came out? Bad Boys 2, and also if you want to hint on our experience from Bad Boys for Life.
When it came out, I was too young to watch it. But I sneaked a copy 2 years later, and I loved every minute of it.
Mm-hmm. Did you watch it with your older brother and his friends?
Yeah. Because it was fucking Martin. I wasn't even there for Will. I was there for Martin.
Actually, and that's a good point, because Bad Boys came out at a time when Martin
was everything.
He still had his own show, and Will was on Fresh Prince, so they were very prominent in your screens.
Yeah, but then again, back then, I don't know. I didn't really appreciate Fresh Prince for what it was, which is weird. But man, Martin was the thing. Martin, just I could not get enough of it. And the fact that it was in a movie and I couldn't watch it when it came out, it was just completely pissing the hell out of me. Mm-hmm. But I did manage to get a copy years later, and wow. I think I rewatched that VCR over and over and over again. It's one of the best things I watched back then.
How about Bad Boys 2? Where were you in your life?
Oh.
2003.
Oh, just in high school, just chilling.
Mm-hmm.
I
Were
don't
you
know.
an icon chilling? Were you an OT living?
Oh, always. With Bad, I wasn't as excited as I was with Bad Boy. I think it was just years later, and then Martin already fallen off the wagon by then. I think Will was a thing then. He
It
is
was
still
definitely
a
a
thing
thing then.
now. But yeah, I wasn't that excited, and suffice it to say that I think when we rewatched the Bad Boys 2 again,
We'll go into detail.
yeah,
about
but
the
it
film,
wasn't as good as I thought it was initially.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
And I definitely want to dive into more detail when we talk about it. But yeah, it was disappointing. And just to give us some general notes on Bad Boys for Life.
Oh, I think it really did need to happen. And the fact that they set it up in such a way that they want to have the fourth one come out as well, I'm like, nah, mate, I'm not living for this.
You know, they actually announced that the day that Bad Boys for Life was released, they announced, hey guys, a fourth one's coming out. Doesn't that like cut through the tension of it all?
Yeah, it does. Because then again, you pretty much know that, of course, nothing's going to happen to Will or Martin.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're kind of left in a large where they're not going to do another Bad Boys. I thought this was the grand finale, just the end. One of them would die, and the fact, maybe we'll get into the details later, but anyway, I was just super disappointed. I expected so much more.
Don't call it Bad Boys for Life if you're not done with it, though.
Yeah, just call it Bad Boys.
Next chapter.
Another one.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know what? I really believe that DJ Khaled would be the sort of person that would charge people to say his phrases. So you better watch out. I don't want to use all of our beloved patron contributions just to pay off DJ Khaled.
Unless he's like the Fine Brothers and want to patent React or another one, just normal English fucking words, then
okay,
we're good.
I know this film series is all about firing shots, but again, we have very limited funds to cover any sort of infringements we might inflict. So I guess I'll go into my first impressions. OT and I are of the same generation, but we definitely had very different experiences.
Tell me where you are when Bad Boys came out.
I wasn't in the womb, but I was basically in the womb. Hey guys, hey girl, hey. I was raised Mormon and I'm a brown girl, so I didn't get to watch shit like this. Even like the watered down versions that they play for TV, because that's super watered down. Right? So Bad Boys, I never got to watch. I only just watched Bad Boys a couple of months ago with you. And it was fucking delicious.
So that was your first time.
Yes, and I want to talk about each film specifically, but let's just go through first impressions. I fucking love Bad Boys. In a nutshell, because I guess I have this ability to make everyone hot under the collar, and I don't mean sexually, I just mean making people angry. I tend to have two muy caliente hot takes. So I felt like Bad Boys could have just been released 8 years later and 17 years later. They didn't need to manufacture this shit. I really liked it. Freeze mother bitches. The whole mother bitches is 4 chef kisses. I just love that. I say it to OT all the time and he fucking loves it. I loved Bad Boys. I thought it was great. It was a formula and let's just leave it there. Unfortunately not. That's why we're on this podcast. Bad Boys 2... We'll go into detail, but generally I was adamant that I watched it in the cinema when it came out. However, according to its rating, I wouldn't have been able to watch it. Again, people like to play games of how old is Katie? Just like people like to wonder whether OT is our greyhound. You'll never know, bitches.
Don't tell me the moment Church made a Bad Boys version for you guys to go and watch.
Yeah.
It was just called Boys or Good Boys, eh?
It was called The Non-Whites.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah, I could pause it. I could see that.
We really need to do a Patreon show just talking about our frame of reference because, man, they're not tasty, but I've got some morsels for you into all your holes. But not today. So I wasn't old enough, but I did see Bad Boys 2. And we watched it recently. In the lead up to watching Bad Boys for Life, we watched it, I think, just the other weekend.
Yep.
And man, sometimes you just get older. Not like Clint Eastwood bitter, but you just get older and you want more out of life.
Yeah, you expect better.
You start buying healthier ingredients. You start buying wine that costs more than your bus ticket, right? You start upgrading your palate. And I didn't realize that my need for a compelling narrative got in the way of me enjoying dumb movies. Because that's what happened to Bad Boys 2. So hold on to your privates because we're going to get very nasty.
Mm-hmm.
Feel free to do some edging. OT is a big fan.
Oh, yeah.
Watch out for his edging classes. Wow. Again, if this is your first episode, it shouldn't be. And then Bad Boys for Life. I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll go into more detail, but Jesus Christ, like, let Sleeping Lawrence's lie, man. Bloody hell. So let's go back to the first movie as much as we can muster and as much as we can fit within this time. How did you feel? Because this was the classic sort of buddy cop. People like to draw parallels between Beverly Hills Cop and, Eddie Murphy's Beverly Hills Cop actually contributed to the concept behind this as well.
Yeah.
Because you had Dana Carvey and also another actor that were, slated to be associated with this. And then you also had Eddie Murphy being thrown into the works. You also had Arsenio Hall being thrown into the works. It wasn't until Michael Bay saw an episode of Fresh Prince, and Arsenio Hall will always go to say that was one of the biggest regrets of his life. But according to that story, he didn't really have a choice in the matter. It kind of got taken out of his mouth. But it's that classic sort of buddy cop. And people like to draw parallels between, the success of Lethal Weapon.
Lethal Weapon is the shit. Mel Gibson, Danny Glover, mate, you can't get any better than that.
And OT is saying that in 2020.
I really am. Like, I grew up on the Lethal Weapon movies.
I haven't watched Lethal Weapon.
You should not even be talking at this podcast.
How dare we are learned cinephiles and we don't film shame. We don't
shame.
Oh, well, I love that.
Oh, yeah.
That's some Romulus shit right there. There's a Succession reference, friends and lovers. But yes, let's talk about it. Let's talk about the film in general. I guess if you want to put it in a sort of nutshell, you have Marcus Burnett, who is a family man. I don't know if they had kids at the time of Bad Boys, but he was married. He might have had a kid. He might have not had a kid. Again, come and fight us. We have 9-to-5 Dolly Parton jobs. So come and fight us. So he's responsible. He's also very, very cowardly. And he doesn't like to take risks at all. Unfortunately, that becomes more magnified in the films to follow. But that's kind of his...
I think magnified is an understatement, but yeah.
Like military grade.
Yeah. Zoom the shit out of that.
Yeah. That's some Mythbusters shit right there. So you have that sort of character. Unfortunately, I really feel like they didn't flesh out his character and he kind of got stuck with that one predictable sort of dimension.
Yeah.
And we can talk about how that flows on into the other films. And then you also have Mike Lowry. Mike Lowry.
Mike Lowry is the one.
And, he's the playboy. He's the gorgeous guy. He's also super rich. And he keeps driving his luxury cars instead of the cop cars and telling Marcus to always have to pay for those cars and all of those damages. So you have a very interesting sort of dynamic. And really, I would argue they carry this film on their shoulders.
They do. It doesn't work without Will and Martin at all.
Michael Bay was so abhorrent with the script that he actually let Will Smith and Martin Lawrence just riff off each other. So a lot of it is them ad-libbing. Especially when I'm pretty sure it's in Bad Boys, the first one, where Will Smith would keep calling him a bitch. Much to the advice of Michael Bay. And Martin Lawrence actually pulled Michael Bay aside without knowing that he was instructed to do so and said, hey, I really don't like it when Will calls me a bitch. And Michael Bay's like, well, go and say it. And that's how you have that scene. I think it was in the car. Bitches in the Sea. Yeah. We have Will Smith as well. So a lot of the fanfare and a lot of what makes this film franchise so delectable and so easily digestible is their dynamic. Yeah. Right? So it works really well. To stretch it out over 3 decades, that's a big ask of any franchise.
It really is.
It really is. But it was nice. It was nice to see them. I kind of enjoyed seeing Marcus really embody the role of Mike Lowry, and he really just enjoyed living in Mike's world, you know, having that bachelor pad, but he's rich, so it's not gross and disgusting with cigarettes and pizza boxes, right? I'm sure it's like caviar and cigars instead. Listen to our podcast, Spinach.
Yeah, it's not Wendell's apartment, mate. It's not
sexual.
It's not sexual.
That's a Key and Peele reference, guys. We need to do Key and Peele one of these days.
We do.
Let's digress for a second. There's a Key and Peele sketch that you fucking love that I don't even understand at all. And it's the one where you have Jordan and you also have Keegan with the hats. And they're competing over how mint quality the hats are.
That is the best thing ever.
Like, I get it. Like, they keep one-upping each other. But the way you laughed, I will never have the frame of reference to understand why that was so fucking funny.
Mate, you never bought hats and you're all like keeping the stickers on. Like, mate, it was about being fresh. That sketch just got to me, and it's one of the best they've done.
We never got to buy like official sort of apparel.
Mate, I was one official either. We just had stickers.
You just got a Sharpie?
Mate, as a Kenyan kid, come on now.
Well,
I used to get those stickers from anywhere. I'll just stick it on there and be like, oh, mate, I'm fresh right now.
You said it.
Man, it's part of my childhood. I'll never take that away. Like, however embarrassing.
It's like you've got an Adidas hat, but you put a Mickey Mouse sticker on it.
Unless you come and look really closely, you're never going to tell.
But how is that relevant, you ask? Well, they're fucking great, and you should watch Key and Peele, and we will definitely cover it one of these days. It's for your reference, guys. This is what we fucking do.
Yeah, it's relevant because we're talking about dynamic duos.
Yes. Spoken from the most iconic dynamic duos.
You're welcome.
OT and his abacus. The beads you can count on. Watch out for our merch, guys.
Oh, that sounds like a sex toy. The beads you can count on.
Well, hey, we're saying this is, you know, when you have like cereal and it says the suggested serving, our abacus will be like the suggested use. But if you want to shove it up your holes, that's fine as well. Listen to our Master of None episode. I think that's where the abacus daddy started.
Yeah.
Or not. You know, we don't run your life. But again, if you watch Bad Boys for Life and you enjoyed it, then you've definitely got a couple of hours to waste listening to our other episodes. Let's get back to it. Let's get back to it. But talking about the fake, hashtag fake Mike Lowry, like hashtag fake OT, that's another inside joke. Not even started from us, from other podcasts. But with hashtag fake Mike Lowry, it was funny just to see Marcus's character navigate that world.
Yeah.
And how I think it was Julie's character, she was staying there as a hostage and to keep her safe, like a witness protection sort of thing. And she would start to ask questions like, because there were pictures of Will Smith all over the apartment. And she's like, why have you got so many pictures of him? He's like, he's my friend. It was great. Everything works so well for Bad Boys. And what I want to do with the other films as well is talk about the soundtracks. I love Bad Boys, the first and the original should be the only. But even for the other films that I didn't really care for, the soundtrack was great.
Yeah.
So for Bad Boys, we have, Inner Circle already had a song called Bad Boys. And then they reintroduced it into one of their contemporary albums at the time. And because of Sweat, A La 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 Long, OT La 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 La
I'm
Long.
gonna make you sweat. Yep, we know.
Ooh.
We know.
Hey, keep it for later, baby love. They reintroduced it on the album, so it got some more notoriety because of Sweat, A La 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 Long. OT is La 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 Long. And then that became the soundtrack for the movie. And obviously it centers a lot of the film franchise. Even in Bad Boys 2, you have them trying to continue the song and Marcus has no idea.
Yeah.
It's funny. It can't not be funny. Not knowing the words to shit. It's just, people need to give Martin Lawrence more credit. They definitely need to give him more credit, but we can go into more detail. So you've got Bad Boys, Reply 95. You also have Shy Guy, which I was saying to you even just before this episode, that song was made specifically for this movie.
Yeah, I thought it'd come out like way before the movie, but apparently not.
Great song.
It's a really good song.
It is. It was an amazing song. You've also got on the soundtrack Me Against the World 2-pack. And you've also got Someone to Love. John B and Babyface.
Yeah.
And it's so deliciously contemporary to the time, is it not? Romantic, heartfelt, feel the feels, got some little reggaeton, not reggaeton, actual reggae.
Yeah.
Even dancehall. I guess we can do a separate episode on what the differences are.
Oh, yeah. Oh, join me. OT, Reggaeton Edition. Dancer, Boomba Clat.
Nice. That's a more appropriated reggaeton right there. But I really loved Bad Boys. I really feel like it solidified that feel good action, blow everything to shit, but you still have a very fun story to follow along.
You really do. And it's one of those things that while we're rewatching all these things now, the first one stood out because it aged well. It was rewatchable now. It made sense to me. I was like having fun. I let my guard down and I just wanted to see these two guys completely bounce off each other with just their humor and wit. And I was all in for it.
It was fucking great.
It was great. Yeah. And then I think that's where we now start losing, we're trying to tread water a bit with the second movie, which didn't age great, but at the time, far out, mate. I really enjoyed it.
I fucking loved it. I think it's great. I would recommend people watch it now.
Maybe not the second one, but...
No, I'm talking about Bad Boys.
Yeah.
Instead of watching 2 and 4 live, watch this one instead.
Yep.
That's all I'm saying. Is there anything else you want to say about Bad Boys 1 before we move on? Let's talk about Bad Boys 2 because I do remember it fondly. However, I just felt hurt. I'm like, why am I watching this shit? Sorry, it's not complete shit, but like, why am I watching this, essentially?
Because I think they took Martin's character a bit over the top. He complained about everything and blamed everything on Mike, Will's character. And that was just super annoying, especially when every single thing, even the most obvious thing that wasn't Mike's fault, he was blamed for it.
Yeah.
He was whiny as hell, and I wasn't just there for stand for it. And the fact that he treated Gabrielle Union, the sister, so badly.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell mom.
I think he said mommy.
That's even worse. Just piss right off, mate.
It wasn't great. Like, the story just wasn't there. Like, Martin Lawrence was a big old baby.
Big old baby.
He was a big old baby and he kept talking about retiring and all of this sort of shit. And imagine how onerous that story arc was. And then they chose to do Bad Boys for Life. And he keeps threatening to leave after 17 years.
Well, he left for a few days.
And
Bad Boys for Life?
Telling you. I'm staying.
I'm staying, mate.
Fucking hell, man. Like, get lost. Like, if you want to leave, just leave. Like, take it from Michael Keaton when he was on 30 Rock and his last day of before retirement. Just fucking leave, man.
Yeah, just bounce. But yeah, he was really, really annoying in Bad Boys 2, and I couldn't just stand it.
Can we talk about a storyline that really, really annoyed me in Bad Boys 2? Hello, friends and lovers. Again, if this is the first time you're listening to our podcast, OT and I are in an enthralling adventure together. 10 years, motherfuckers. That's how long our adventure has been. But in regards to Bad Boys 2, a big crux of it was Mike Lowry and how he needed to find someone. And that flows on to Bad Boys for Life as well. I just want to lay this out as not a foundational qualm, but just a whopping dirty on the floor qualm. It really bothers me. Like Mike Lowry was for all intents and purposes, he seemed happy with the lifestyle he had.
Yeah.
Yes, you could say there are times when he feels lonely, but we didn't really get to explore that. So all we were given is what we were presented with, right? So he seemed happy in his life. Marcus always seemed bent on him getting married and also having kids.
Yep.
But we also know from living life and also having people around you, sometimes you get married and you don't want to be married. Sometimes you have a kid and you don't want to have a kid. Not to say that Marcus didn't want to have it, but Marcus was that sort of friend where, yes, he loved Mike, but he also kind of envied him.
Yeah.
He always felt like he couldn't measure up in looks, in smarts, in confidence. Again, Martin Lawrence, please don't come and fight me, Big Mama. I'm not talking about you specifically. But you know what I mean. And it's just like, there's you caring as a friend, and then there's you projecting your insecurities as a friend.
Oh, for sure. And he projected the hell out of that.
Yeah.
Because in his interactions with Mike, you could see that this is not a person who's just a friend. He's super jealous of the kind of life you're living. And you know, he's never going to be happy with that sort of life.
Yeah. And speaking of, because we're in Miami, how did, because they're detectives, so they're not police officers, they're detectives, right? How did Marcus afford that nice house? Because in Bad Boys...
Probably Mark gave him some money to do that shit as well.
Must be.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know if he's taking a slice of Teresa pie, but in Bad Boys, they had like a normal looking house and then cut to Bad Boys 2 and it was...
They're living it up.
Yeah, it was fucking amazing. So it was just interesting. It was just interesting to see. I don't know. It was weird. If you work in Miami and you're a police detective, please let us know how much money through DMs. We're classy. Because maybe we need to move there, OT.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to go and get some of that nice old pie.
For sure.
Apparently the dog that was used in Bad Boys 2 was Michael Bay's dog.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I thought that was quite fun. Michael Bay also mentioned that one of the reasons why he wanted to make the film R-rated because he was sick of having restrictions of PG-13. I would think that would get very annoying.
It would.
If you are a creator, you wouldn't really want to restrict yourself. Unless, of course, it works in the favor of like Blumhouse and a smaller budget makes you more creative. But I guess in a lot of instances, you don't want to block off that sort of creative energy.
Yeah. Then again, you want to make the most out of, to make the most money as possible. So things that are PG-13 attract families, and that's where you get the dosh.
Yeah, but then in some cases, they're not happy, are they?
No.
Don't come and fight us. We are not getting deeper than that, unless it's a Patreon episode, and then you can hear all of the mess. I also wanted to note in regards to Bad Boys 2, there's a scene with Reggie who's going on a date with the daughter. Yeah. Apparently, Michael Bay instructed Martin Lawrence to be really mean to the guy that plays Reggie.
Yeah.
without him knowing. So he would actually be scared of Martin Lawrence. And he also wasn't preempted about the use of the gun in the scene as well. So it was nice. I'm not saying that this movie was terrible. Like I said,
It had its moments.
the cornerstone is the dynamic between Will Smith and Martin Lawrence, but it wasn't enough to hold the lack of story. Because it's like, yeah, I can see you guys, but it's not enough for me to want to dive into this world, right? Let's talk about the soundtrack, because we talked about the soundtrack for the first Bad Boys. We have Bad Boys for Life, which, you know, they're muddling titles now. P. Diddy, Black Rob, and also Mark Curry. And then we have, this song made my 2000s. Can I just say?
Tailfeather?
Shake a Tail Feather. Nelly, P. Diddy, and Murphy Lee. I had an ass that you wanted to look at, but I didn't have a boyfriend at the time. With my counterfeit Fat Farm shoes.
Ah, Fat Farm! Wow! Wow! That's such a naughty's brand, isn't it? Fat Farm. Fucking hell. If you didn't have a Fat Farm anything, you're just not living life, weren't you?
And again, mine was counterfeit. my Fat Farm shoes were so counterfeit that you would have the P going the right way on the left side of the shoe, but they didn't care to pay for a mirrored P, so the P would be backwards on the left shoe. I feel like Fat Farm is one of the it just stayed in the 2000s.
Yeah.
Because like filler, weirdly enough, is coming back.
It's
Even FUBU is like coming back to a certain extent. I think Fat Farm is...
Mate, I had a pair of Fat Farm jeans, I could not put them away. It was Fat Farm every fucking day.
Do you have any more room there for me?
Wow, that's such a... I had forgotten all about that.
Welcome, guys. We're the 2000s Nostalgia Podcast as well. Oh, man. But what a time. What a time. They also had songs featured from Fat Joe, Dre, Beyonce, and also Justin Timberlake.
Yeah, cool.
As the kids like to say, it slaps.
Yep, I'd go with you on that.
I don't know.
I'll take your word for it.
I don't know about the intensity, if it's like a Terrence Howard slap. But we are going to get in so much trouble. But there you go. There's a soundtrack for Bad Boys 2. Is there anything else you wanted to say about Bad Boys 2 until we dive into Bad Boys for Life?
No, not really. Just that I wouldn't want to meet Terrence Howard in a fucking dark alley. That's all.
I wouldn't want to meet him in broad daylight either. Do you think that motherfucker cares if people are around?
He's a scary fellow. He's a scary man. Anyway,
he's a scary man. Let's spill our seed on the door today, just to make sure he doesn't come and get us. Jesus Christ. So let's dive into Bad Boys for Life. Bad films. What you gonna do? That
song was such a big hit.
It was.
And I can't even remember the fucking words for it.
And it was, I don't know about you or T in Kenya. I don't know if you had similar experiences, but every family barbecue, Bad Boys would be playing. Even before this movie came out.
Yeah. Oh, Bad Boys was such a big hit even before this.
It really was. I think it was quite interesting that they came back. But again, like we mentioned, particularly in our Lion King episode, we don't have control over whether sequels continue to come out of franchises that should have died a long time ago. But if you don't want to see it, and don't contribute to it, essentially. So I guess take that with a grain of salt, or take it with all of the salt if you want to get some extra sodium in your face. That's a callback to earlier. But yeah, we chose to watch this film and we were very excited.
Yeah.
I was, and again, like you have different genres of movies, right? Actions are like horrors. Like in way of having the quintessential sort of tropes in action, you're going to sacrifice story.
Yep.
That's just the devil of the details, right? So I get that. But even with Bad Boys 2, like, I was like, come on, man. Like, try a bit harder. Like, give us a reason to watch this, aside from the fact that we love Martin and Will.
Yeah.
Right? There needs to be something more than that. So I felt like that was also the case with Bad Boys for Life. But I was excited, going from strength to strength. I think also the age of social media kind of undid the excitement that I have, because, back in the day, Bad Boys 2, you're like, oh, there's not as much like social media. You're like, oh, I want to see what these guys are up to. I want to see them back in their full glory. But like we mentioned before, Will Smith is a fully fledged YouTube star, apparently.
They're super accessible right now. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
The mysticism is all gone.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
We don't even need a podcast. We just need OT's blogs. Are you on Blogspot or LiveJournal?
Oh, MySpace.
Damn, dog. You can't even put blogs on there. Oh, my God.
You used to have like a super long bio. That's enough. And update it every time you want to change your thoughts.
If anyone was big on the MySpace days, or even LiveJournal, or also Blogspot, please let us know. No, really, those were some good times. I don't even know. We'll need to find a relevant movie so we can cover it on the podcast, or again, it can be a Patreon sort of thing. Because I frequented many forums I shouldn't have been on. But anyway, that's a story for another day. But going back to Bad Boys, again, yeah, I don't know, it gets to the point where I feel like I've had so much of Will Smith, right? And, there was a time in the golden age where every blockbuster for I think like 15 years was Will Smith.
Yeah.
Right? But again, his son isn't stepping up, so we keep getting Will Smith, which is fine. And I feel like Bad Boys is the only place where Will Smith swearing and saying the N-word makes sense. I still don't understand Hancock.
Leave Hancock alone.
apparently, and Suicide Squad, and I don't know, but yes. So it's not as if I was hungry or I had an appetite for this film. But again, we watched it on the promise of delivering nostalgia and all the good things that we loved. However, it was more seeing your childhood dog after many years.
Oh wow.
I didn't mean Martin. I just meant the film.
Yeah, I know.
I just meant the film. But let's talk about it for a bit. So spoilers. Hey, it's been fun. You've joined us along the ride. But if you haven't watched Bad Boys for Life and you want to watch it, then I guess wait to listen to this part of the episode. I want to talk about a massive story arc that they had in this. So I mentioned in Bad Boys 2 where Marcus was concerned with Mike and how he needs to settle down and find a good girl and that sort of thing. Presumably to be the lead person of Ammo.
Yep.
Which is a whole nother story which we need to get to. But the crux of it was people were being assassinated. And Mike Lowry was amongst the ranks of that. We're just going to get straight into it, really. Again, I'm going to say it one more time. Spoilers.
Yep.
So we have the actress Kate Del Castillo playing Isabel Aretas. And she becomes essentially the catalyst for this film, I guess we can say. How foundational we start to find out as the film continues along. But for the sake of brevity and for the sake of talking about more interesting things, she had an affair with Mike Lowry before the time of the films of Bad Boys, which I have a foundational qualm about, which we'll get to, right? But she had a son, and that's Mike Lowry's son.
Yep.
I could have done it in a more poetic way, but hey, you watched the film. It was very haphazard. So that's as much as I will give it, right? So you have this sequence of the son going out and killing all of these people, only to find out that the last target, the one that she wanted to hurt the most, was someone that she deeply loved.
Mm-hmm.
So that's okay, I guess. It's not the most original of story arcs that you could have. What I found as the foundational qualm is the whole witchcraft of it all. Was that necessary?
I don't know. I just didn't understand it at all, to be honest. But I guess they had to do something with Mike. What was his background? Because we pretty much know Martin has always been like the family man through and through, you know? Settle his seeds down early.
Very safe.
Yeah, play safe and whatever. But what was Mike up to? And I guess this kind of tries to answer a lot of those questions. So I didn't really have a major qualm with that and how they went about it. But once we found that out, then there was only one way this was going to end. Mm-hmm. And then it became really predictable. And I was like, fucking hell, mate. Fuck off. Fuck off. Yeah.
Listen to our Succession episode and definitely watch Succession if you haven't watched Succession. It became so incredulously far of the field that was within Bad Boys.
Yeah.
It was really much based within the realm of reality. And, you know, don't come hail Satan me if you believe in witchcraft. But I just felt like they didn't really need to introduce that as a story arc. It felt very confusing. But just from a writer's point of view, I appreciate details. I appreciate, you know, planting the seeds, as OT likes to do on a Friday night. Planting the seeds and cultivating a well-deserved emotional payoff.
Yeah.
Right? The writers aren't the idiots. I'm the idiot because I need to watch it 3 times to understand it. Right? There was nothing there.
Yeah.
Right? And it just bothers me. It's just like, oh, we need to do a new movie. Let's conveniently make this storyline before all of the movies happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, come on, dude. Give us more than that. Give us a reason to come back to this. Even though people continue to watch sequels, it's not going to stop them. They're going to watch it anyway.
Yeah.
Right? At least give us a good time.
Well, for sure.
We can both enjoy the ride. Right? So I just found that really lazy, especially because they had so much budget and, you know, they for the most part, they had refreshed the crew anyway. So it's not as if they were bogged down by the years and the sodium. Bloody hell, man. Like, I just wasn't with it. I just wasn't with it. Not to say there weren't any good parts in this film, but the good parts were still the good parts that we experienced in Bad Boys.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, true. And just to go back to that, because they said that there was going to be a Bad Boys 4 once this was released. And in the movie, again, spoiler, Mark gets shot.
Yeah, that happened quite early as well.
Yeah, it happened quite early. And I was like, okay, do they have the fucking balls to carry this through?
Yeah.
And it becomes clear, of course, they're not going to do that. Because it's not going to be just Martin Lawrence. If it was Martin shot, I would be like, maybe there's a chance here somewhere. If it was Marcus who shot.
It was a way for those assassinations to happen.
Yeah.
In a way that made sense. Because if Mike Lowry was mobile, it definitely wouldn't have happened. At least not as effectively.
Yeah, I just thought they had the cojones to see something through. Kill one of them. Make the show super deep and sad and end it.
But that's exactly what it is. Like, we know what we're in for. So why are we introducing themes that we don't have the time, or perhaps some of the viewers don't have the appetite to explore?
Well, I thought that was just the crux of the moment where it would be like Marcus would now have to grow up. Yes, he's a grown man with a fucking family, but he's just childish as. I thought it would take this moment and shine and become really, or just break bad. Break bad and become the kind of cop that Mike wanted him to be. Go after the killers, kill everyone on a fucking rampage, an Archer-esque sort of way, you know, and go down with your bloody shape. and then end the movie. Kill Bad Boys. Let it die a peaceful death. We don't need another fourth one. No one needs that.
And that's a good point. It was raised in Bad Boys 2. Mike made a comment saying, how do I know if someone comes after me that you're going to shoot them? Right?
He probably won't.
But that didn't even get resolved in the next movie.
It didn't.
There was no character development with Marcus at all.
No. In fact, when you say that, Mike is the only one that has any sort of character development in this movie at all.
Oh, yes. But it's like, okay, old man Logan, get lost then.
Yeah.
Like, just fucking retire.
Yeah.
But he did actually, like you said earlier, he did retire. He came back into the force because of Captain Howard dying. You knew that was going to happen. You definitely knew that was going to happen because, yes, Michael Lowry got shot, but in this film, you knew that there needed to be some emotional investment.
Yep.
There needed to be a death in this movie to make it tangible for anyone. Right? That was made quite clear.
I just thought they had the big balls to do one of them.
Nah. Because it'll be like a Bates Motel situation and then Will Smith just floats around for the rest of the movie.
Yep.
But yeah, just like I knew someone had to die in this movie. Like there was too much happiness. There was too much stability going on that something needed to shake this up, at least to pull the story across. I knew it wasn't Mike because obviously Mike wasn't going to die that early. And I hate cheap deaths. Can I just say? If you're going to shoot him, fucking kill him. Don't make this whole story. But again, I do understand the vehicle of it because they needed to have people getting killed. And if Mike was around, he's too effective for them to be able to carry that out.
Yeah.
But again, you're the one writing it. Figure it out. I'm not the writer. I'll just call you out on your bullshit. So I knew that Howard was going to die because it did that thing where they focus on him for too long.
Yeah. And when he was barely shown in the last two movies anyway.
Yeah, he was just there for effect, just for him to shout.
Woosa.
Exactly. We didn't even talk about Wusa and Bad Boys 2. It got overshadowed by the terrible writing. But anyway, hey, Michael Bay said it, so we can say it as well. But they focused on him a lot, and he's saying to Mike, come round for dinner. We'll cook your dinner. And I was like, yeah, man, you're never getting to that dinner, bro.
Yeah, it was obvious.
Like I hope you had a big lunch because you were not dining. Unless you're going to be dining in Valhalla. You're not going to be dining on the mortal life.
Yeah.
So like I knew that he was going to die. Again, it's like looking for a storyline in porn. That's not what we're there for. We're there for the shaky cams. We're there for the explosions. And personally, I'm not there for that. So I guess that's why I had more of a foundational qualm in regards to the story arc. Let's follow through with this particular storyline and we can get to the new Ammo cast. We get this sequence of, Michael Lowry fighting his son. And then, it culminates to a head and we have Isabel's character admitting, even if it was your father, what does it matter? I'm telling you to kill him, right? So anyway, the resolve happens very quickly. But again, at 2 hours, already feeling super bloated, that's fine. But it just felt unearned, right? But in any case, we get to the end of the film and, Mike's character says, I think I've got an opportunity for him. So he's in some sort of solidarity sort of cage, solitary.
It's solidarity as well, mate, if you want.
And to avoid being someone's bitch, you need some solidarity, right? So he's isolated and he's in a cage. It looks very Suicide Squad. I don't think that was intentional, but it's very Suicide Squad looking. And he comes to him as if to present that new opportunity. And obviously that opens the door to a potential fourth sequel, right? Let's talk about it for a bit. I'm sick of Marcus's character continually talking about retiring, but if he was to follow through with that, the fourth sequel could potentially see
father and son.
Yeah. How do you feel about that?
I'd love that shit. Get the whiny kid out of the picture, and I would be living for it. And just to talk about the above the fold sort of aspect in this movie, because I didn't hate everything about it. I love
Neither
the fact
did I.
I love the fact that they had Amo come in, and we have our baby Bjorn in there. And we love him because, especially his character, he's solely underutilized in this movie, but he has a backstory. He's a lion caged because of who he used to be. So if there's going to be a fourth movie, we know that he's going to be unleashed, and I am living for that.
But can I just say, who on earth believes that Alexander Ludwig is a nerd? Again,
If 50 Cent can play a nerd, anyone in this world can.
with glasses, that's a distinction. That's how you know. I'm not saying it's to the level of 50 Cent, but if you've listened to a couple of our podcast episodes, we do mention how OT and I are both in IT, right? I have never in my life seen a Bjorn Ironside in my office.
What are you talking about? You're looking at me right now.
I'm not talking about the Ironside that got cancelled on NBC.
Whoa!
You fucking asked for that.
Whoa!
You fucking asked for that.
Oh, wow. I'll be your Blair Underwood any day, every day.
Please do. Oiled up is my preference.
We love a good Blair Underwood. He's in everything.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm fully satisfied. I feel great about myself. While we're feeling great about ourselves, we can continue about Amo, but I would really hate to miss the soundtrack because, again, you don't need to go far. I will tell you, this is the most we've ever talked about a soundtrack in depth for movies. We have Ritmo that samples, "This is the rhythm of the night, all night."
Yep.
Oh, yeah. I'm just going to sing that for 2 minutes and see how much people charge us. They'll be like, that doesn't sound like anything.
Original composition, mate.
Hit us up, will.i.am. We don't stand with the airline that besmirched you. Fucking hell. Read a news headline. We're not getting into that today. Black Eyed Peas and also J Balvin. We also have songs from Pitbull, Lil Jon. We also have Jaden Smith. He's also on the remix for Ritmo. And also Murder, She Wrote in this instance from Buju Banton.
Oh, yeah. Love a good Buju.
So, you know, there is a like reggaeton sort of dance hall sort of theme that gets interwoven with all three movies.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah. I think I've gotten my reference pick for this show already.
Oh,
Yeah.
feisty one you are.
I really am. Yeah.
That's an In-Betweeners reference. I guess take shots, but we've been doing lots of references, so you might be on the floor soon. But let's talk more about Dawn, Alexander Ludwig, because we had a little Ironside adventure. So let's just come back. I just want to say it is my responsibility as a host on the most delicious of podcasts to inform you not to form your opinions about Alexander Ludwig on this role. This role was shit.
Yeah.
It had
But I say did pretty much nothing.
it
so
had -1 dimension to this character. It was literally like, he's a buff guy, he's a nerd, right?
yeah.
He was fucking bigger than Will Smith. Like, he could swat Will Smith away, right? And that was supposed to be the whole humor of it. It's sad that in 2020 that we're still relying on those obvious sort of physical humor. But, you know, Danny DeVito's not there, so we're fine. It's not that obvious like him and Schwarzenegger, right? It's just sad. It's just sad that they had to rely on it. I don't think Charles Melton Rafe's character brought anything to the role, aside from the fact that he was like a young Mike Lowry, like he was an asshole to everyone.
Yeah, I wouldn't even say I'm Mike Young Lowry. I don't know. He was just a dick.
He was a dick, but so was Mike Lowry. You just like him.
Yeah, I guess so.
So, you know, and then they had that whole back and forth about, you know, sleeping with the mom. Like, yeah, cool. Like, fine.
Yeah, cool.
Like your mama jokes were when we came out of the womb. It's not anything new.
Yeah, for sure.
And then we also have Vanessa Hudgens.
I liked her in this.
I just feel like her face looks like it's always ready for some dick or it's always ready for some special powder. Like,
No, I think I liked her in this.
Like
she was positive. She wanted to be part of the team and
even
go with the
her-
flow.
Even seeing her in High School Musical, I'm like, she a freak.
Like, I think she's grown from that. I feel like this was a good performance from Vanessa Hudgens.
Yeah, but I think also at the same time, there's so much turnover in Hollywood. I really don't think about people that I used to think about before. So it's like, impress me or don't impress me. I don't care.
Yeah, fair enough.
Like you're like the seat filler with Kelly Rowland.
Oh, mate.
See, even you haven't watched that movie and you love Kelly Rowland.
I've watched Sid Feeler.
Did you watch it off your Excel spreadsheet?
Did you find a black person who hasn't watched Sid Feeler? He'll be hard pressed, mate.
Hello, most delicious of melanin friends and lovers. What are you doing?
I'm telling you the truth.
Well, we said there was no overarching narrative in Bad Boys, so I don't know why you're expecting a cohesive discussion on these films. And we also talked about DJ Khaled as well. But I guess, do you want to wrap up any sort of general thoughts, whether it's Bad Boys for Life or just the film franchise in general?
All right. I know it might have sounded as if we were super negative on this, but
I really don't think we were negative, though.
Well, we are Bad Boy lovers. We love Will and Martin in this. In the first movie, they were amazing. Bad Boys for Life wasn't solely bad. It had flaws, like just any other movie. Deep flaws, but there was some shining light in it. And if you're going to do a Bad Boys 4, I'd really want them to shake up the formula, do something drastic, and just, it doesn't have to be the same sort of formula they've used since 1995 till now. Just shake it up. Shake it up a bit.
Yeah. Unless our patrons force us, I don't see myself watching another Bad Boys film.
I will watch it. Regardless of how the third one disappointed me, I'll still go and watch it.
Thanks, Ironside.
I'll be a Blair Underwood all day, mate.
You heard it here first. In some cases, you might classify this as a colossal episode. In many cases, you would classify this as an episode. Thank you so much for listening to our podcast this week. We fucking love you guys, as I always love to say. If you're listening in linear time, we will have a lot of movies coming up. We are coming up to our 1-year anniversary OT.
Mm-hmm.
And we are covering all of the Miyazaki greats as much as we can fill in the month of February. And we also have a very exciting award show to celebrate our 1-year anniversary. So strap in.
And strap on.
And get it all juicy, guys, because we are going to get very sensual with you all. I'm still deciding whether we should do a video special for the awards. Do you want to get your stilettos out?
Oh, they're already on, mate.
Thanks, Tobias Funke, the anal rapist. Again, there are many reasons why we're called For Your Reference. That's one of them. Let's get into the ever-loved segment, the namesake, For Your Reference. Oti.
Since we've focused so much on soundtracks as well in this episode, it would be amiss for me not to say the movie of the soundtrack that I remember as a kid that I loved. And I think it's still one of the best movies with the best soundtrack ever to this date.
Wow.
Back to back to back to back.
Wow.
And that movie is Save the Last Dance.
Wow.
You didn't expect it, did you?
No, I didn't, Blair Underwood.
No, you did not. Save the Last Dance has one of the best soundtracks out there. From All or Nothing from Athena Cage, it's an amazing song. You could sing it till the fucking cows come home. You Can Do It, Ice Cube, Mach 10. Who can't live without that? Especially the techno version. Fucking hell, mate.
And do it.
You cannot listen to the Save the Last Dance soundtrack, the whole album, and you'll not even afford anything. It's that amazing.
But
and it's one of the best. It really is one of the best.
OT, you can do it. Put your dick into it.
Yeah, for sure.
I think Save the Last Dance is also the one that has lick it right, lick it good. No?
Nah.
You don't want to lick this pussy just like you should?
It has You Make Me Sick by Pink as well. Like, far out. It is the best. It is the best. And I'm still yet to find one that I love as much as I do Save the Last Dance.
Well, You Got Served is quite good as well.
No, it's not.
Pump it up. This is for you, little Saint. What the fuck is this episode?
Oh, we're derailing, mate. All right.
But that is a bloody good soundtrack.
It is a good soundtrack.
Fucking hell.
It has like 15 songs on there, and you will not afford anything at all.
As if we're not going to do Save the Last Dance the next opportunity we get. Jeez.
What's your reference?
I've actually got two references.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to a coworker that I will never talk to again because they liked Bad Boys for Life, but they also didn't like John Wick. Really, bitch?
Yeah.
Good luck trying to reset your passwords. I'm not fucking helping you anymore. Recommending John Wick. I feel like we are excited for the fourth John Wick.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we need a fourth Matrix, but that's a story for another day. But if we're talking about succinct action, going against the bad guys, the Baba Yaga.
Baba Yaga.
Fuck off. By the fourth movie, I'll get it right. And I have a second reference, OT.
Mm-hmm.
If we're talking buddy cop and apparently story doesn't matter and it's more about the actors, I will recommend the classic with Tracy Morgan and Bruce Willis, Cop Out.
You're just having a piss.
Well, now you know who brings the quality. Thank you, motherfuckers, so much, you mother bitches. Hopefully you have a great week. If you want to fight us on a day-to-day basis on Twitter and Instagram, we are For Your FPod.
You can write us an email at hello@fypodcast.com.
And if you want to perpetuate whatever the fuck is going on, we do have a Patreon.
We sure do.
And we'll see you guys next week.
See ya.
Mwah.
Sarang.
Sarang.